Okay, today's video is going to be about making DWF files for QTO from AutoCAD Architecture and Revit AutoCAD Architecture. So the process is very similar, but not quite the same. So I wanted to kind of take you through it. Okay, so we'll start with AutoCAD Architecture here. We've got a very simple plan here, and I got an elevation on the sheet. And the DWF publishing capability in AutoCAD Architecture is under the Publish menu. You can get to it right here, or you can just type Publish at the command line. I'm going to go ahead into the options. This gives you the list of things that are going to be published out, and you want to publish everything all the time. So just if you're going to be working with people using QTO and doing DWF work, you want to make sure you publish all that. And then what we'll do is we'll go publish, and it's going to bring up our list. I don't publish the model space. I always publish the paper space. We need to set up a page setup, so I'm going to do that first, just to show you how that works. Um, this is kind of a new file, so let me go ahead and save it. Okay, so right-click on the tab, Page Setup Manager, Modify. DWF is fine. Architecture, that's fine. One-to-one is okay. Let's see what else. Do we want to use? I always like to use a black and white setting. So let's see. I think it's here. Normal is object color. Let's see. 50%, 25% standard. Standard, we're going to use black. I don't like to use color at all in my DWFs. Most people don't like to see color in their DWFs. So there we go. So now if I publish this, remove that. Okay, first thing you want to do is make sure you go in here and make sure this is set up the way you want it. We want to include layers. We want to prompt for the name. We don't want a password. We want to include the blocks, include the property set data, include the automatic properties. And then in the 3D DWF, this is all okay, pretty much as the default. And we'll open it in the viewer when we're done. I'm going to hit publish. We give it a name. I'll put it on the desktop. I'm not going to save it this time around. And there it goes. So it's published. So let's open it up and see what it looks like. Very simple. The publish command is everything you need. You just need to set the settings in there. Okay, this looks just fine. Pretty simple plan, but you get the idea. It's got everything in it. Okay, so that's it. We've got our DWF set, our DWF sheet put together. And now what I'll do is I'm going to do the Revit one, and then we'll bring them both into into QTO and see what we get. Okay, so Revit works in a very similar way. Now I have this weird problem with my recording software where it goes black like this, and sometimes that causes my DWF to get messed up. So I may have to pause it when I make the DWF file or something. But um, in Revit, you go in and you do publish, and it'll let you take in all of the all the sheets and views that you want. You don't have to use sheets. You can use just views if you're going to do takeoff, but you can also just publish your sheets, whichever ones you want. They're my sheets, but I'm not, well, why not? I'll publish them. Sure. I could have just said check all. Let's see. Make sure you check rooms and areas in a separate boundary layer. That way you have those for doing quantities in. And all of that should be okay. And I'm going to publish it. It wants to put it on Buzzsaw, so I don't actually want to do that at the moment. Let me make it a DWF. Actually, let me just cancel this, and I'll publish it the normal way. Actually, when you want to go to the normal way, you just want to publish it to a DWF like that. It'll bring up the same settings, everything stays, which is nice, but you can just put it in a different place. And since we have this little bug, I created one earlier, so we're just going to use that. So imagine that I went through this and hit OK, and now we've got our DWF. Okay, the next step is I'm going to open QTO. I'm going to bring in the Revit DWF that I just created. So we're going to create a new project in QTO. We're going to call it QTO test, let's just say. And no catalog. And then I'm going to go in and grab the DWF file. And I believe that it is this one. Let me do this. Go to details. It's the later one, so whichever one is later. 1039. Yeah, that's it. Okay. I could have grabbed the ACA one while I was at it, but. And when this comes in, what you'll see is that there's my DWF. That's the 3D one. I published 3D in this case. but I also have the 2D. So there's that. And we'll know it's correct if we get properties out of it. So if I do a search and I get highlights, that's good. That's what you want. So I'm going to go ahead and do a search there. You notice it picked up the wall type. Go down and grab the type name and the family and do search. And there's our exterior wall, 136 feet. Okay, and it found it, so we're in good shape. And if I go look at other sheets, those should be colored also, meaning they were picked up as well. So that's good. Let's look at the plan also. So by publishing it correctly out of Revit, we get the object properties coming through, which means QTO can pick those up and can work with them. And see, that all looks good there. That's my exterior wall. Okay, so now let's look at the ACA one. So I'm going to go ahead and sheets and models. I'm going to bring in the sample ACA plan that we did. Now we should have a new document in here. I'll close this up. Not quite as advanced, but it's still there. Now I should be able to search on this, and you see I can't. So if I highlight that, it found it. Now you get a little bit different properties out of ACA, but they're still here. They're just a little less, fully detailed. So somewhere in here, I've got my wall type, and I'm not seeing it. But I'm going to go ahead and just grab, I want all the walls that are, let's see, let's just get all the walls. And we're going to do it linear search. I'm going to hit search. And so we have 277 feet of wall. And it looks pretty good. And I'm not sure if I see it over on my elevation or not. Probably not, because the elevation comes through as an elevation object as opposed to as wall object. So in ACA plans, you really want to work in plan mode. But there you see, I got the walls in, and I got interior and exterior. And so I'm going to review real quick. Basically, what you want to do is you want to publish. You don't want your model space. You want all your layouts. Make sure you have a layout set up that works the way you want it. And make sure in here that you publish your layer information, and make sure you publish your property set and also your block information. Just include everything. Everything that says, can you include it or not include it, just include it. Throw everything but the kitchen sink at it, because that will give you the best chance in ACA to be able to, or in QTO to be able to read what you get. And in Revit, it's a little more straightforward, because Revit by default, how do you like that black? I wonder if I can, let me try this real quick. No. Revit will automatically put it all in. The only thing you have to be careful of in Revit is that when you go to this screen here and publish options, make sure you click rooms and areas. And that will make sure that you get all of the square footage areas. Either one of those should get you a good DWF. If nothing else, just do trial and error, test it out, keep trying it over and over again. And one little note on DWG files, you can go to www.getdwg.com and download Autodesk TrueView, which will let you do all the same publishing. Let's see if I can find it here. Autodesk. I know I have it somewhere. There it is. Autodesk DWG TrueView is exactly like AutoCAD Architecture. You just have to make sure that you install the AutoCAD Architecture enablers so that your objects come in. So make sure you put your object enabler on your system, because if you don't, then you won't be able to get all the properties out of your DWG files. But with this, I can open up any DWG and work on it. And I'll demonstrate by opening work. Let's see, demo files. Right there. So there's that DWG that was created in AutoCAD Architecture. But again, if you don't have AutoCAD Architecture installed on your system, it's going to give you you're not going to have everything that you need. So this is what I have. You notice that these came through. They're not cleaned up because I don't have the object enabler for DWG TrueView installed on my system. So that's just something to think about. If you're seeing this kind of behavior here, you need to go get the object enabler for ACA. Hope that's not confusing. Anyway, that's how you do DWF publishing from Revit Architecture and AutoCAD Architecture for the purpose of takeoff. Hope that's been helpful.